to another episode of Going All In, Get the Edge You Need to Succeed. I'm Dr. Erin McKinley, and today we have another awesome spotlight session with Dr. Maria Morgan-Bathke from the Viterbo University Dietetic Internship program based in LaCrosse, Wisconsin. All right, welcome to the episode, Maria. To get us started, let's get a quick introduction to you, your journey to RD, and how you landed in your position.
Sure, absolutely. So I'll give a brief introduction. I am going to introduce myself as well as Jamie Weber throughout my presentation, who works with me to facilitate our dietetic internship. But I actually started as a nursing major, and then I shadowed a nurse and realized that I did not want to do that, but I still wanted to be in healthcare. And my best friend was a dietetics major at Stout. And she said, why don't you check out dietetics? And I met the program director and fell in love. And I was almost done with my junior year when I realized that I did not know nearly enough about nutrition. So I decided that I needed to go to grad school. So I did that and did my internship and realized that I really wanted to be teaching. So I got my position at Viterbo, where I am now, and my second year started as the dietetic internship director. And I've really worked hard with Jamie to improve and make our program cutting edge. And so I hope to share some of that with you all today, and hope that you are as excited about our program as we are.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to let you jump right into your presentation about your program.
Awesome. All right. So as I said, I like to give you an introduction to both myself and Jamie, because we facilitate the entire internship program through Viterbo. And as you'll see, we have a really personalized program. And so that's why I like to share a little bit about myself. So as I mentioned, I graduated from UW-Stout, University of Wisconsin Stout, with dietetics, and I studied abroad in Sevilla, Spain during that time. And we've actually developed a relationship with the university in Spain. So our interns have the option of completing their final rotation in sports nutrition, working with athletes in Sevilla, Spain. So that is a cool piece of our internship if you're interested in traveling or sports nutrition. As I mentioned, I didn't feel like I knew nearly enough about nutrition, so I did my doctorate in nutritional sciences at the University of Arizona. And while I was doing that, I completed my internship through the Carondelet Health System in Tucson, Arizona. And that was an internship focused in medical nutrition therapy. And I did an emphasis in critical care and renal nutrition. And so that's why I facilitate the medical nutrition therapy rotation, along with, you'll see some of my other experience. And I'm a new-ish mom. I guess my daughter's going to be 2 next month, so I'm not quite sure how long I get to say that anymore. But I have a picture of my daughter, my husband and I, when I graduated from Stout, the Minnesota Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics executive committee. I was on that a few years ago, and we did a painting event. And then when I graduated from University of Arizona with my dissertation advisor. So my clinical experience actually started as an undergrad. I worked as a nutrition assistant at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester for 5 years. I started on a regular med surg floor and then actually worked on the PICU and NICU, so pediatric and neonatal intensive care units. And being at Mayo offered me the opportunity to see some really unique cases, very nutritionally ill patients that we don't normally see because Mayo is such a specialized facility. So that was a great experience that I had the opportunity to complete there. Then I did my internship through the Carondelet Health System, as I mentioned, that focused in medical nutrition therapy. I worked at St. Joseph's, St. Mary's Hospital in Tucson, as well as the VA system there. So I got a nice wide variety of opportunities. I got to work on 2 different Native American reservations through my internship in their dialysis centers, which was really great, and also did some home-based care on the Native American reservations, which was very, very interesting experience. I currently do weight loss counseling via telehealth at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, as well as through Vita Health. And in the Vita Health program, I also work with patients with type 2 diabetes, manage their diabetes. So as I mentioned before, you can kind of see why I facilitate the medical nutrition therapy rotations. That's really my area of expertise. There's my daughter on her first Halloween. She was, not even as big as her pumpkin. My husband and I are huge football fans. Unfortunately, he's a Packer fan, and I'm a Vikings fan, but we make it work. And then the last picture is the Dia de los Muertos parade in Tucson, which is really fun, really cool experience. Everybody dresses up, as you can see, in their Dia de los Muertos costumes, and we dance and have fun and do a parade through downtown Tucson. I do research both at Mayo Clinic in Rochester as well as at Viterbo, and we do require you to do a research project as part of the internship program. So you work with a partner and you get to decide kind of whatever you're interested in learning more about and doing that. So Jamie and I both kind of help facilitate that. My research focuses in obesity and adipose tissue inflammation, and I do clinical studies. And I have some studies that are just at Mayo, some studies that are just at Viterbo, and some that are a collaboration between the two. And if you're interested, that's something that you could partake in throughout your internship as well. I do have a picture of some of our research interns got the opportunity to present their research at Experimental Biology a few years ago in Chicago. And so after they presented, we went and had cocktails on top of the John Hancock building. So some really cool opportunities that we offer through the internship to expand your research if you're interested. And just a little bit more about me. I really enjoy spending time with my family. Prior to COVID, I loved traveling. So that's my husband, my daughter, and I in Las Vegas at the top. And in Philadelphia, we actually went to Fancy together a couple of years ago. I also love walking. I have 3 dogs, so lots of opportunities for that. And before I had a child, I loved reading and painting, and someday hope to have time to get back to that. So Jamie couldn't be with us today, but she facilitates the community nutrition rotation, and you'll see why because of her expertise. She is actually a Viterbo alum, and she did her master's at Winona State in professional development. She has a really strong background in motivational interviewing. This is her. She has 2 kiddos and her husband, Nick. I think they're 5 and 6 now. They're growing up really fast. So her experience started at Vernon Memorial Hospital, which is actually in a place where you could do a rotation for MNT. And then she worked with the Ho-Chunk Nation for 6 years during community nutrition education. You actually have the opportunity to do a final rotation there, as well as Riverside Corporate Wellness, or RCW. And then she has 14 plus years experience at WIC. She does outpatient work with long-term care facilities as well as Organic Valley. She does their corporate wellness program, and she's been at Viterbo for 5 years. So you can see Jamie has a ton of experience in community nutrition, and that's why she facilitates those rotations. She has some awesome pictures of her traveling. She went to New York and actually got to be on the Regis and Kelly show back when it was the Regis and Kelly show. She's traveled to China. That's her in Hawaii with a dolphin, and then her kiddos and her pup on some Halloween pictures. So Jamie, as I mentioned, I was close on their ages. So she's married to Nick. Delia's 5.5 and Matthias is 4.5. And her dog Zoe is 12. She loves being with family, drinking coffee, and being in nature. And the picture in the middle is actually our dietetic interns put on a healthy cooking class for daycare age children. And so Jamie's kiddos came to be the guinea pigs when the interns practiced before they actually went out to the daycare and did their cooking demo. And this was through the community nutrition portion of that. So the DICAS statement or DICAS application for second round, we accept applications through the DICAS system. The first thing that we look at is your personal statement. It goes a long way if you show that you didn't just write a form personal statement and that you actually show that you're interested in Viterbo. We have a community nutrition emphasis, or maybe you're interested in our sports nutrition emphasis, or something that shows that you've kind of done your research on the program. Next, we look at your letters of recommendation. So make sure you're getting strong letters there. Then we value work and volunteer experience. So have you done more than just gone to school for the past 4 years, right? So were you involved in Dietetics Association, or did you volunteer or shadow with an RD? Make sure you highlight those things. Then we look at course grades, and specifically your DPD professional GPA. And then lastly, we look at the overall GPA. And I'll be quite honest, we have found that the interns with 4.0 GPAs aren't necessarily the best interns. So even if you have a lower GPA, but you've got strong experience and letters of recommendation, I would still encourage you to apply, because what we found is, just because somebody can study and get good grades doesn't mean that they have the strong interpersonal skills that we would like to see with an intern and working with patients and working with the community. This is kind of hard to see, but I do have our cost outlined here to get a better feel for what our costs are. It is available on our website, and we have it updated for the coming year, so you can see exactly what you can expect to pay. And I did want to highlight, we do have an online option for our interns. So if you haven't completed your master's degree and you are interested in doing that, if you're accepted into our internship, you get priority acceptance into our master's program. So it's completely online, and you would finish the internship and the master's degree in 2 years. The nice thing is you can finish your internship year 1, go work wherever you want, start making money, and finish up that last year of the master's online and be located wherever you'd like. Our master's, we offer 3 different emphases, one in MNT, one in community medical dietetics management. So if you're thinking like you want more of a managerial position or something in the community or something food service focused, that would be for you. And then a sports nutrition focus. Dr. McLymans is the program director for the graduate program, and I have her email listed here, which is also on our website if you're interested in that. The nice thing about doing an internship through a university is that you can apply financial aid to the entire internship. And our internship is, you do receive graduate credits. So you receive aid at the graduate level versus the undergraduate level. So this can be helpful if you've used up your undergraduate loan limit. You can use the graduate limit instead for the internship, and you can use student loans versus personal loans, which can help out significantly financially. A little bit more about our program. It's broken down into 4 phases. Phase 1 is what we lovingly call boot camp. So it's an intensive 4-week course. The first week is online, where you're kind of doing like prep work, reading, and assignments to get ready for boot camp. And then we have an MNT and a community portion of boot camp. MNT is going to be lectures provided by myself, as well as practicing RDs in the MNT field. We added Ergo this year, which mimics the Epic charting system, and interns love it because you go in, almost all hospitals now use Epic, and so they go into MNT and they feel like they're comfortable managing that charting system. And we also have a state-of-the-art simulation lab that we use. So it looks like a hospital room. It looks like, in fact, an entire hospital unit on the 3rd floor of our building. And so before we actually throw you into the hospital, you get to practice with a dummy and do your NFPE and all of that. And interns love it because they feel like they're really well prepared. Community is the same. We orient you to the facilities not only on the Viterbo campus, but as well as the WIC clinics in the area, the Boys and Girls Club, the food pantries, all of those things. And we make sure that you're trained on health screenings. So blood pressure, finger pricks for fasting blood glucose, and lipid panels, measuring waist-hip ratio, body composition, all of those things. Some highlights of our boot camp, we do an organic tour, so we take you guys out to some organic farms in the area, learn about that, and then we do a tour of Organic Valley that has one of the world's greatest corporate wellness programs, and you can kind of learn about that and how nutrition is involved. We also travel to the capital, which is about an hour and a half from LaCrosse in Madison, Wisconsin, and you guys pick a topic for public policy, and you give your spiel to the representative, the state representative and state senator for our district in LaCrosse. Some examples were malnutrition one year. One year we talked about school lunch access. So sort of anything you're interested in. And the picture here was our class a few years ago. I believe this group did the malnutrition. And so the students love this because they really get a feel for what's public policy and how dietitians can be involved. And then, as I mentioned, we added Ergo this last year, and that's been a really cool addition. So boot camp happens with all 14 of our interns, and then we split you into two groups. One group will do their community nutrition rotation in the fall, and one group will do their MNT/food service in the fall. And then whoever did whichever one in the fall will swap. And then, so if you did community in the fall, then in the spring you do MNT or vice versa. So that's phase 2 in the fall, and then phase 3. And then phase 4 is our final rotation. It's the month of May, the last month of your internship, and it's a continuation of whatever you were doing in the spring. So if you were doing community in the spring, you'd do your final rotation there. If you're doing MNT, you do your final rotation in MNT. If you're interested in the sports nutrition trip to Spain, you would do the first few weeks of your final rotation in the United States, and then you do the last 2 weeks of your final rotation in sports nutrition. So the reason we do it that way is, one, because it can be kind of expensive to be living in Europe for more than a couple of weeks, but also that way you get exposure to an area in the United States to add on your resume. For the MNT food service rotations, we have you do 32 hours a week MNT and then 8 hours a week or 1 day a week of food service. In addition to your rotations, which I'll mention the sites on the next slide, we do online discussions and we do monthly meetings as a group, just to kind of, you guys are at different sites generally, and so it's nice to kind of reconnect and see how everyone's doing. We send interns for MNT and food service to the VAs in Toma as well as Madison, and our Madison VA also pays a stipend. So if you're interested in that, you can apply for that portion. We do send interns to Mayo Clinic Health System in LaCrosse, Austin, and Albert Lee, and there are opportunities to shadow through the Rochester site as well. The Gunderson Healthcare System is another large hospital located in LaCrosse and Onalaska. We send interns to smaller hospitals. Winona Health, Gunderson Tri-County, Vernon Memorial are all within about a half an hour, 45-minute drive of the campus. And then the Trempealeau County Healthcare Center is a mental health care facility, and those that are interested in mental health really like this option. And then we also have the opportunity to send you to the Federal Medical Center in Rochester as well, if you're interested. The community nutrition rotations, the first portion you actually complete through Viterbo. So for the first 8 weeks, you are working with a variety of different age groups throughout the life cycle, from daycare education, like I talked about in the picture, to working with the ADRC and our elderly population. You work with nursing students and do health screens with them and cooking demos. You work with athletes on campus and do one-on-one sports nutrition training. So kind of anything you're interested in. This is also the rotation where you do the research project, as I mentioned. And you do an 8-week final rotation in either a WIC clinic, corporate wellness, sports nutrition, eating disorder clinic, kind of whatever you're interested in is the second half of that. So I have listed here, you just do a ton of different nutrition education in the first portion of the rotation with Jamie. Here are our interns. They did a cooking demonstration with some of our veterans, our homeless veterans in the area. So this was a picture that we took after that. And then final rotation, as I mentioned, WIC, Ho-Chunk, grocery stores in the area. We have regular rotation sites at D1 athletic complexes if you're interested in sports nutrition, eating disorders. We really work hard to personalize what your interests are in. We do an RD exam review through Eat Right Prep. It's online and work at your own pace. You have access from October to June, so right up until hopefully when you're taking your RD exam. There are 6 practice exams provided, and you have to complete at least one of the practice exams before graduation. We ask that you are members of the Student Dietetic Association during your community rotation, and then it's optional during your MNT. You do a lot of fundraising with them, so if you want to present your research at like WAND or MAND, the local state academy conferences, it's a good opportunity for that. Good networking and social events with other future dietitians, and lots of volunteer opportunities. So this is actually our intern class at the Healing Garden, which is one of the volunteer projects that they do with the Cooley Recovery Center, which is an addiction recovery center that's very close to our campus, actually. And so they do some volunteer work with that. I'm not going to go through these videos today for time, but we have an awesome assessment lab and an awesome foods lab, and there's videos available on our website if you're interested. Our assessment lab is where you do health screenings. We have private nutrition counseling rooms where you do nutrition counseling with community members, with our athletes on campus. There's private clinic rooms where you can do NFPE or body comp measurements for research. And then our foods lab, you saw some pictures of, but we have a great state-of-the-art foods lab with cameras to make awesome cooking demo courses. So I encourage you to go to our website and check out those videos if you're interested. And that's my spiel.
All right, perfect. Thank you for giving us that overview. All right, so I'm going to jump into the 5 questions that I ask all of the directors that come on the podcast. And these questions were put together with the help of my students to make sure I was asking the questions they really wanted to know the answers to. And so for this first question, you touched on it a little bit when you were talking about personal statements, but what really is the one thing that you just love to see when you're reading an applicant's personal statement?
If you, like I said, if you can show that you've kind of done your research and say, like, I want to come to Viterbo because, that really shines, because it's kind of obvious when you just write a form personal statement and send it to all the internships. So when you take those few extra minutes to show that you've taken some care, it goes a long way.
So how about resumes? Are you strict to the 1 page, or are you flexible?
Flexible. I think there's a lot of volunteer and extracurricular activities, more so than there has been in previous decades. And so maybe you can't fit everything that you've done on 1 page. Do be careful though to make sure that you highlight everything. on the first page so that we want to look at the second page, right? So that we're intrigued enough to keep going.
All right, perfect. So what is one or more things that an applicant may do, and this could be in communication with you before they apply or in the application itself, where something might raise a red flag for you, where you would think this applicant may not be the best fit for this program?
Well, believe it or not, we have gotten personal statements where they mentioned the wrong internship. That was a a red flag of no attention to detail. So watch that. And, make sure you're getting strong letters of recommendation. I think that's probably the most common red flag that I see is if someone doesn't give you the most stellar recommendation, that can be a red flag.
All right, I agree with you there. So what is one aspect of the program that you're trying to work on make an even better experience for the interns?
Yeah, so Jamie and I both started at the same time about 5 years ago with the internship program, and we are always striving to make it better. So we regularly ask the interns for feedback on like, how can we improve this? So we added the monthly meetings, those we didn't have before because they wanted more FaceTime. We added the international experience because that was requested. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, the social media is a big thing that we students have asked for more experience in. And so you'll notice we recently added a social media campaign to our community nutrition.
All right. Well, my last question of the 5 is a 2-part question. And the first part is, what are the 3 best adjectives, descriptors, or phrases that you feel best describes your program overall?
I think what you won't find at other programs is that we're really personalized. So as I mentioned, we work with you to figure out what your interests are to place you for your final rotation, for your rotations overall. Do you want sports nutrition? Do you want eating disorders? We also, do you want a different location? Do you want to stay at home? Do you want to travel to Hawaii? So we regularly place interns all throughout the country if that's what they're interested in. So I would say personalized, unique. You said 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think personable. So it's Jamie and I that run the program. Viterbo is a small university, so you aren't just another number out of 100 students, right? We really get to know you. I have interns from 5 years ago that still reach out to me for recommendations, and I remember exactly who they are because we built a strong relationship in their time with us.
All right. So the second half, very similar, 3 adjectives, descriptors, or phrases to describe your ideal applicant.
I would say someone that is passionate about nutrition, someone that has strong communication skills in the professional setting as well as working with patients, and someone that's flexible. Someone that is willing to take on additional opportunities as they arise with preceptors or with sites.
All right. Well, I have just one last question. So we know over the last year that a lot of internships have had to make some big changes to kind of get in line with the needs of their state with closures, with COVID-19 and all that good stuff. So is there any aspect of the program that went virtual that you actually like and you think it works maybe a little bit better and you might keep it around for a little bit longer?
So we added Ergo kind of accidentally because we were worried that we might need it to fill in hours for clinicals. And knock on wood, we've been really fortunate that we haven't had to utilize it for that. But I think that it gave such a strong experience to the interns to be able to learn how to navigate a charting system before their first day of clinicals. And so we're going to keep it.
All right, perfect. Well, that was all the questions that I had for today. So to close out this episode, I would love for you to give our viewers one last take-home message for potential applicants in the second round this year.
Yeah, so second round applications open tomorrow at 11 a.m. We review them on a first come, first serve basis. So be ready to submit your application at 11 a.m. tomorrow. It would be my best advice, would be, the best opportunity. You'll hear from us pretty quickly. So I would just say, get ready to hit the submit button.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Maria, for being with me on this episode. And for those at home who would like some more information on the program at Viterbo, I've included the website link to their program in the description below this video. And as always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss an episode with another awesome dietetic internship. And we'll see you next time. Good luck in second round.